Okay, let's talk about it. Cheers to some water. I'm sure by now, if you're watching this video, you already know about the concept of the boiling frog in the pot, right? You've probably heard of that before. It's a analogy, I suppose, which goes something like, if you put a frog into a pot full of water and you start boiling that pot slowly, the frog will have no idea that it's going to burn alive. It's the craziest thing, right? It's the craziest concept. A lot of people right now in the job market are like the other frogs. Or maybe you're the frog that realizes that the pot is boiling right now and you need to jump out. I have a close friend of mine, really good dude too, man. It's always the nice guys. These situations, they almost always happen to the nice guy. He's not married. He's got no kids. He's got no family. So all he does, he works every single day. Almost no day off. And his job is pretty stressful. One day, I got the news that he had a stroke. And this guy is pretty young too. He's a pretty young guy. I think 44 is young. When I heard about the fact that he got a stroke, I freaked out. I was like, how is that possible? The guy's only 44 and he got a stroke. How? How is this even possible? I'm sure you're probably asking yourself the same question. Because usually when you hear about somebody getting a stroke, it's somebody who's in their 60s or 70s and they've lived a pretty good life. So I decided, you know what? Let me go check him out. Let me go visit him. I went to see him in the hospital. His family was there. So the guy's half his body was kind of paralyzed, I think on the right hand side. So he couldn't move his right hand side, his leg and his arm. So I started asking questions to his family because he couldn't talk at the time. I asked him, okay, so what happened? What are the doctors saying? The doctors said that his stroke was induced by stress. And I was like, wait a minute. Let me find out more once he's recovered a little bit. So, long story short, I paid him another visit a couple of days later. Still in the hospital. Actually, this time he was not in the hospital, but he was in a rehab center where he was learning how to walk again. He was learning how to use his limbs again, even talk. So I had a really deep conversation with him, a heart-to-heart conversation with him. He revealed to me that he works every day. He doesn't really take care of himself like that, meaning he doesn't work out. He eats noodles, fast food. And he's not a fat guy, so when you see him, he's not overweight. So when you see him, you're like, but you're not overweight. You look like you're pretty healthy. I guess internally, he was not doing well. And this is happening to a lot of people right now, that they look like they're fine on the outside, but on the inside, things are falling apart. This is a story for millions of Americans right now. It turns out that every time his job asks him to do overtime, he agrees to it. He says, yeah, I'll do the overtime. And the reason why he does that, he says, is because he doesn't have any other obligations outside of work. So he doesn't have a family, he doesn't have kids. So he figures, you know what, let me just work. But what he doesn't know is he's the frog in the boiling pot. And his job is the pot that is boiling. The point I'm trying to make is that sometimes when we're in the grind, it's very hard for us to see the bigger picture. And it's my job now to paint for you the bigger picture of what's happening in the economy right now. And it's not just in the States, but in the West in general. You already have a good sense of what's going on at your job. You might not be in the healthcare field right now, but you're probably doing some other corporate job and you're trying to escape the corporate grind. But you kind of have a good idea of what's going on, but not really. You don't have the full picture of what's going on. But let me tell you what's going on, because I've been in corporate for a long time. I was in corporate for 15 years, so nobody can BS me of what is going on. Boy, oh boy, I got some bad news. It's the job market right now, especially in corporate. But the job market right now is very similar to the dating market. You guys already know, if you're in the dating market, if you're not married, if you're still out dating right now, you know what's going on. It's a mess. It's a mess. Companies are so desperate to squeeze every single ounce of profit out of everybody that works for them that they don't care anymore. The good companies are almost like that dude that just dates girls, doesn't commit to anybody, and just uses up people and doesn't commit. That's what the big companies have become. They become the Chads or the Tyrones. It's a pump and dump, and you're the victim. And you know you're the victim, but some of you guys are in denial. You're in denial that you're the victim. I was in denial for a long time, but I woke up. I woke up to the truth after being pumped and dumped for so long, to the point where I decided a few years ago, let me just do my own thing. Let me just do my own thing, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth being used up and dumped like a piece of trash. You think they care? They don't care about you. If you quit, there's somebody else right after you. There's somebody else out there that is desperate for a job. They can replace you just like that. Some companies even have the guts to tell you, we can replace you anytime. I've heard of that. I've heard of people saying that. And the reason why they can replace you anytime is because the job market is saturated by so many people, so many victims, I like to call them. So a company will look at you, especially if you're in your 30s, in your 40s, you got a lot of experience, maybe you got 20 years of experience. They'll look at you and say, why should we pay this guy or this lady $100,000, $150,000 when we can get this desperate loser here and pay them half and abuse this loser and pump and dump this loser? Yeah, we'll train them. Yes, it's going to cost them to train that person that's going to make half of what you're making. But guess what? They don't care. It's sad, isn't it? It's really sad. So what's even sadder is when I see victims like my friend here that doesn't know that they're victims until it's too late. Because let's be honest, like, burnout is a real thing. And when you burn out, no one cares. In fact, this guy was so blessed that he's such a good dude, he's such a good guy, that he had so many friends that came to see him in the hospital. He has a lot of siblings that came to visit him, so many family members that came around to take care of him when he was down and out. But how many of you have that? How many of you have a sibling that you can rely on? How many of you have a spouse that can look out for you when you're down and out? How many of you have a parent that can look out for you when you're down and out? How many of you have a reliable friend, not a fake friend, that can look out for you when things are, when your chips are down? This is how people end up in the streets. How do you think Skid Row exists? Or even in Atlanta, how do you think downtown, if you go to downtown Atlanta, there's so many homeless people downtown? How do you think that is? How do you think those people got there? They're the same as me and you. They're no different. They have the same fears, same struggles. They just want to work hard, feed their families, and take care of themselves. Maybe start a family, have a good life, eat good, live in a nice place. But the difference between you and them is that you probably have reliable people around you, people that you can depend on, people that can look out for you when things are down. But those folks, They don't have that. Maybe their friends are not reliable. Maybe they lost their spouse. Maybe they lost a parent. And things just happened. It's a domino effect. These things happen. Don't be that frog. Or if you're the frog, if you recognize that you're the frog in the boiling pot, at least understand that the pot is boiling now and you need to get the hell out. Speaking of getting the hell out quick, check out my course in the description of this video that teaches you how to market your home care agency. And if you still have any questions about how to start a home care agency, schedule some time, talk to me, ask me any questions you have. Okay? All right, I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.